Hello, this is Ted. This is a short tutorial on how to use uh, Google Sheets and enter data and also do a linear regression analysis with this particular program. This is an alternative to using Excel. And in this document, what you'll see are columns with letters and rows with numbers. And then I can click on an individual cell. So here I've clicked on cell A1. And before we get too far along, I do want to point out that you can have multiple sheets in a given document. So you can simply add sheets on the bottom here. So I've added 3 sheets total. And then I can name these sheets as well. So I can call this plant growth. And we'll see what that means in a second. And I can also title my document just by clicking on top, and I'll just call this plant growth over time. So your data can go into these cells, and we can also put labels for our data columns. So I've just got some fictitious data. So let's say we're monitoring the growth of a plant over time. So we're going to have 2 columns. First column will be time with units of weeks, and then column B will be the height of the plant in units of centimeters. So we can just go ahead and enter our data over 10 weeks that we collected. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I'm just going to copy and paste some data just to save a little bit of time here. So there's my height for my plant that I monitored over 10 weeks. Okay, so the next thing to do is to plot your data. So what you want to do is highlight the 2 columns, just like that, and then go Insert Chart. And what you want to do is do a scatter plot for this type of plot. So just select this option here, and now you can see our data is nicely plotted with a scatter plot. But we do want to add a trend line for our plot and then do a linear regression analysis. So if you click over here on the chart editor that you can get by simply highlighting the plot, and if it doesn't come up, just double click on it and it should come up. Then go to Customize and then Series, and then scroll down to Trend Line. And a nice trend line should come up, in this case a linear trend line we've selected. And then to get the equation of the line, what you can do is go to Label and select Use Equation, and the equation for the line has come up on our plot. And we can also look at the correlation of the X and Y data just by adding the show R squared. And if you want R, just take the square root of that value, so you can see a good correlation between our X and Y data here. And the next thing you can focus on is making your chart look nice and pretty. So I'm going to change my title to make it more descriptive. So I'm going to call this plant growth as a function of time. I like my title centered, so I'm just going to change that to centered. And then I'm going to change this to black font and maybe make it bold to make it stand out. I'm not too happy with my font size here, so I'm just going to click on my font and maybe make that a little bit bigger. That looks better. Let's do that with the x-axis as well. I think that Makes it look better. Also, my line for my y-axis is gone, so let's see if we can get that back. So I just double-clicked it. I want to show that axis line as well. And maybe you don't like grid lines, so if we want to get rid of grid lines, we can just double-click once again, go to Customize, go to Grid Lines and Ticks, and just hit the Make Your Grid Lines button. Let's do the same for the horizontal axis. We got rid of those. Now we lost our line for our x-axis, so let's go back to that axis. So one way to get that back is just to highlight the axis once again. And let's go to Grid Lines and Ticks, and let's just add major ticks, and I think that looks pretty good. Let's add the tick marks for the y-axis as well. Let's see there. I think that's looking pretty nice. Maybe you want to consider changing that font size as well. Let's try 12. Well, I guess it was 12 already. There we go. That looks good. Alright, so the last thing I'll cover is how you can save your data. So you can export the whole spreadsheet as, let's say, an Excel document or a PDF document. If you're just interested in exporting the plot itself, click on the plot, click these little dots here, and just go download. And let's just download it as a PDF document. And then you can save that PDF to your computer and use that form of file for uploading it to another program, for example, or sharing it with someone else. Okay, so there's a quick overview of how to plot data and do a linear regression analysis in Google Sheets. Thanks for watching.